you're looking at the stat line for the 1987 finals of one Dennis Johnson, 32 years old. Dennis Johnson, starting point guard for the Boston Celtics, who was being guarded by one Irvin Magic Johnson. 21 points, 9 assists. And what you don't see there is on almost 50% shooting, 48% shooting to be exact. The Lakers, of course, won that series 4-2. And pretty much the only reason that the series was that close was because Dennis Johnson had a great series. Because throughout the season, he only averaged 13 points per game and 7 assists on 44% shooting. So when you give a marginal offensive player like Dennis Johnson was at that time, 8 more points per game. That's a good way. That's a good way to let a team back into a series. Again, guarded by Irvin Magic Johnson. Now, you may have noticed on this platform, or I may have given you the impression that I'm not a big Magic Johnson fan. That would be incorrect. I am a big Magic Johnson fan. I think he was amazing. However, I do not believe that Magic Johnson is one of the 5 best players in NBA history. And the reason I don't believe that is because he wasn't great defensively. I get it. He did lead the league in steals a few times, but that's really not what defense is all about. Defense is about being able to keep people in front of you. And Magic just didn't do it well enough. He just didn't do it. And so there's a very important point that I'm trying to make here. When I keep emphasizing that defense is 50% of basketball, the only reason LeBron James is in the GOAT discussion is because millions of people all over the country believe that you can be the best offensive player on the best team, and that makes you the best player in the league. But that is not correct. Defense is half of basketball. So, it is for that reason that Magic Johnson was not the best player in basketball in 1987. Neither was it Michael Jordan. I get it. Michael Jordan had a phenomenal offensive season that year, but he did not make the all-defense team, and importantly, he had not won a chip. See, we cannot call him the best player in basketball in 1987 based on what we know that he would accomplish subsequently. At that point, we don't know that Michael Jordan can get over the hump. We literally don't know. We know that he eventually did. So, based on my criteria that I laid out in earlier videos in this series, the highest scoring member of the all-defense team that has a chip was Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale was the best player in basketball in the 1987 season. Okay? So, you may say, well, was Kevin McHale even the best player on his team, and was he even better than Larry Bird? I contend that he was. Okay? Larry Bird actually had a phenomenal offensive season, but he had started to slow. Okay? And the difference between the two players offensively wasn't that great. Okay? Larry Bird was the leading scorer by like 2 points. significantly. Kevin McHale led the league in field goal percentage that year. Okay? The difference between Kevin McHale and Larry Nance, that's 53 points. Okay? That's the difference between the number 3 person, Larry Bird, and oh gosh, you know, it's below this chart. You'd have to go down to, you know, probably the 23rd player. Kevin McHale's 60% field goal percentage was the 4th highest in NBA history among players that took at least 1,000 field goal attempts in a season. So I posed the question that I posed when I did the Shaq would have been the number 1 option against with even playing with Michael Jordan and LeBron video. You've got a guy shooting 60% in the post. Who are you taking the ball out of his hands to give the ball to? Kevin McHale was the best player in the league. Let's assume, for argument's sake, that Magic Johnson was in fact the best offensive player. Where does he rank defensively for that year? Was he in the top 50? So you're telling me that the number 1 offensive player can be number 50, 35, 75, 100, and still be the best overall player in basketball? Because Kevin McHale was, I don't know, arguably top 5 in both offense and defense. Okay? Now, I could have went Hakeem Olajuwon, but Dream hadn't gotten he hadn't gotten a chip by that point. So I'm gonna stay with Kevin McHale. I'm comfortable with that. I know I'm gonna get a lot of pushback. I know Magic's season was amazing. He had the the baby hook to I believe that's what that game won that series in 1987, and he won the MVP that year. And I'm not saying he didn't necessarily deserve that MVP. You know, that's a little bit different than what I'm trying to achieve here, what I'm trying to lay out here. Let me talk about that 87 Celtics team, because this is very important to support my contention. So if I'm saying that Kevin McHale was the best player in the league, and I'm saying that Larry Bird had been the best player in the league the prior 5 years, then how did they not win the chip? I mean, it's very, very reasonable question. Okay? If my logic is correct, then arguably the best 2 players in the league are on the Boston Celtics. How did they get beat? I mean, even if the Lakers are that deep, you've got the best 2 players in the league. Logic says they should win the chip. Well, here's my answer to that. The answer to that is that the Celtics had an unusually difficult path to that championship. I did the math on it at one point, but I think as of about 3 years ago, teams that had played in a Game 7 were 19-32 in the following series. Well, that Celtics team had to get past 2 7-game series just to get to the finals, because the Milwaukee Bucks took them to 7 games in the semifinals, and then they had to get past Detroit in the finals. more importantly than that, you understand that that Celtics team is coming off of 3 consecutive finals runs. Okay, because they won it in '80. They won it in '84. They went to the finals and lost in '85, and then they won it in '86. Okay, so it's unlike the Lakers, who did not make the finals in '86. So it's my contention they just got tired. You know, they just got tired. It's very, very difficult to win a series after coming off of a 7-game series. And you know, I think just the wear and tear of playing almost what is that? It would be like 40, 50 extra games. You remember, like, no team had repeated until the Lakers did it in '88. No team had repeated since the '60s. Well, this is why. You know, because you've got to go deep into the playoffs, and that just takes a toll on a team. Repeats obviously became a lot more frequent in subsequent years, but it's a very, very difficult task. So my answer is that the Boston Celtics, under normal circumstances, would have won that series, even the Lakers being as talented as they were. But time just caught up with the Celtics. But in any event, if I'm answering the question objectively and taking defense into account, and by my criteria, Kevin McHale was the greatest singular component to a championship team in the 1987 season. And only that season. This was his peak season. But Kevin McHale was a beast. I mean, he had those long that 8-foot wingspan, and he was a beast down in the post, and he should get his credit. Kevin McHale was the best player in the league in 1987.